Okay, and then this Hangout is on air live. Okay, so it's live and it's public. So let's share it now. Oh, here, add. Okay. Does okay, so I've got his Keene University. Will that do it?
Yep, that's the one.
Do you guys have apps, Google Apps for Ed or something?
Exactly. Our university system is actually a Google,
Oh,
Google
wow,
system.
that's great. That is
So
so
it's pretty convenient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, there are things that annoy, but that one is a good thing. That's a good connect.
Yeah, there's some really great things going on with the apps for education. Have you tried using the classroom? How does it work?
I haven't used that. What is this that you're referring to? Because probably I should be using it.
Yeah, there's a Google Classroom. And so you can send Classroom in Google Apps, and you can send things out to your students, and they can send you back. It works a lot like an LMS. It has all the Google bells and whistles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I usually
Yeah. Hey, Matt.
Hi.
Okay, sorry, I messed it up. I totally messed it up. I hope you can hear
I thought it was my fault.
No, never.
No, the internet in my house is such garbage.
It's all right.
I just assumed.
I look like I've been at the hospital for 3 days because I have. I'm looking very hipster, so I guess I'm in. So. All right, so let's talk. What's going on?
Yeah. The first thing I just wanted to introduce you guys properly. You have seen each other because Matt Jacoby, Dr. Michelle Casorla, Matt was in the ELIT class last semester,
I recognize him.
One of my excellent graduate students. And this semester, we are working independently together to move the work that we did in the semester forward, sort of taking a sub-editorial role for the work of Rachel, you know. Right. So Matt and I will be collaborating on the alumni bio, which we have a few questions for you in regards to how to develop that. So we'll be working on the alumni bio. We'll be co-writing it, basically.
Great.
And then, of course, there are many, many files that have resulted from the course that would be pertinent to the development of Rachel as a character, all the minor characters, their worlds, the artifacts that the students created to develop their identities. I have all of that. So I guess to start out, a couple of questions that we have that are basic are, you know, a little bit more information on the alumni bio. Specifically, are there any examples of it for other characters so that there's a reference point for us in thinking about how to develop ours? That's a thought I had. And then also questions like, where is it going to go live and when? And we can probably turn that around pretty quickly because we know a lot about Rachel, and I don't see that task as being a particularly significant one for us. We will be able to write a bio together pretty easily. So there's the bio. And then the second thing is how to move all the materials to you in the best fashion, and what is it exactly that you'd like to have.
Right.
And then third, which I'm creating an agenda verbally. And then
actually,
the third thing.
No, hold on. First of all, I'm going to put them down here. So
chat,
bio, okay. What's the second one I said?
2 is how to move files, you know, what do you need and how to move them to you in an organized fashion. Just for a second, I want to ask Matt if he knows how to look at the chat box on the right-hand side. Yeah. You got it?
Open and function,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So that's number 2. And 3, future of the project, good. And then 4, we wanted to share with you our publishing plans because we have a kind of agenda of our own in terms of reflections on the experiences we had, and we'd like to share them with Hybrid PED. We actually have a kind of document already of a series of analyses, and essentially Matt's research and collaborating with me. We would like to co-write a series of approximately 3 to 4 installments for Hybrid PED on very specific aspects of the GenLit project. So that's like number 4, publishing plans.
That's so great. I'm so excited about that. That's great. Because, Elise Takahana is also working with a graduate student to do some academic stuff for the project.
Oh, great.
So you and Elise and your graduate students need to get together because she's really excited about doing stuff too, and she's trying to make her stuff work. And like you, her class was very active, and there were a lot of graduate students. The bio that I have actually is Elise Takahana's. It's probably one of the most complete ones I have, and one of the best ones I have of O. Jorgensen. And
cool. He's really a very fascinating.
Yeah. So let me see if I can pull that up. Hold on one second. I'm delving into my Google Docs, I think. I'm even how I do this. Add apps. Let's see. I want.
Are you getting a link to put in the chat?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where that link is. Okay, come on, seriously. I don't need any of this. Wow. Okay. Oh, I know what I can do. Okay, so I'm going to close this because this is not what I wanted. And this is also not what I wanted. So.
Uh-oh. She'll come back, I think. But that's good because then we'll have like a template for seeing, what kind of approach is being taken for representing these alumni. And then we can, of course, do our own thing, but at least there's a reference point. I always like a reference point for things like this. Yeah.
Rather than having to make it up.
Yeah. I think I don't know. What'd you say, Matt? I'm sorry.
I have the doc that you shared with me is open on my phone next to my computer, so I'm kind of I have it, if you forget the questions that you wanted to ask or something.
Okay, cool, thanks.
I don't know if you can see it. Like, I haven't opened mine, so I got my computer.
I have it open, but you know what I hate doing is like clicking on different windows, but I do it anyway. But still, that's awesome because then we can both like remember things together. But I'm wondering if she might have now that she fell out of here, I wonder if we need to send her the link. I'm gonna see if she might, because she was the owner. I don't know if I'm trying to figure out where the URL for this chat is right now.
Yeah. Could you forward the email back to her?
Yes.
That she sent out?
Let me see. Well, actually, I didn't get an email. I just got a.
Oh, I got an email.
Oh, really? So I just got something else, do you join this thing? And I click on it. So it wasn't in an email. It was in a chat box. So maybe, can you forward the email? Because maybe the URL or access point is in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have her address. That's the problem. It's, I can tell you what it is.
Yes. Could you?
Yeah. What I'm going to do right now is just, I'm responding to your last email to me, and I'm CCing her, and then I'm also going to put her address in the actual body of the email.
Okay.
So you have it in both places. Oh, I think what we need to use is not her email address, but Theopolis College. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that, and then. All right, I didn't put it in the body of the email, but it's CC'd on the back to you, so you should. Let's hope that this works.
Yes.
Oh, there she is.
I think I'm back.
All right.
You're back. Okay, sorry. I went to go do this thing, and then I couldn't figure out how to get back. Okay, so It needs to, they might need to have like a better, I don't know, way to do this because it's so confusing. Okay, let me see. Can I go to Google Docs? I'm afraid to go away now. Let me just pull it up somewhere else and then just put it in the chat box. I think I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to. I don't want to fool with.
Yeah, instead of screen share or anything.
This is just scary. I'm just like, oh my God, really? Okay.
We were both saying while you were gone that would be really fantastic to have that link, just because a reference point is always really helpful.
Yeah. So hold on one second. Let me. Okay. So project elements. Oh no, it's share here to publish. There we go. Share here to publish. Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
The only thing is when you get the link, we might not be invited in, because it was on Google Docs.
I know, but I can share it. Hold on, because it's
okay.
Because it's mine. Okay.
Oh, it's yours. Okay.
I mean, she put it in my box, so I'm hoping that it's going to be something here. I think I can. Okay, let me see. Let me open this and oh, this is so good. Okay, I'm going to try to. Okay, I can share it. You know what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just copy and paste the whole thing. But okay, so here's the link. Okay, anyone with the link can view.
Okay.
Copy, done. Okay, so putting the link into the chat box.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna open it now, and I see it. It looks wonderful, and now I am going to save it. What can I do? Can I put it in my drive? How do I do that?
Well, you could copy and paste it to a new document, and you'll make sure it doesn't do that. Or you can drag it into your own drive, one of the other.
I don't know how to drag it into my drive. That's interesting. I should know how to do that. But let's see.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's open, and I'm not reading it right now, but
no, it's really cool.
Now.
It's I could read a little bit out loud just so we have a place to start with, if you want. O lets her cigarette gather a half-inch column of gray ash before she takes a drag. During that time, her eyes were fixed on mine like a gorilla ready to charge. Why do you need to ask me questions for? She scratches her jaw, uncomfortable with the idea of me. You won't find anything more about me than in my books. Fuck, never mind.
So that's how the alumni.
Yeah. Well, all that.
What this tells me is there isn't a certain kind of convention that needs to be kept to that would be sort of PR ready, or it's
this isn't necessarily PR ready. It's more like it kind of reads like a New York Times book review.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a real clear, and then says, well, that may all be all she said. O and her work have given the world twisted enigmas. Those tangled webs of thought started here at Theopolis College during her tenure as an MFA student during first drafts of her Nobel Prize-winning novel Shredding Self Among the Shrubbery were born at the knot. Legend has it that fornicating rabbits triggered the first hints of her main character, Bella Frolick's eavesdropping. So then it gives a summary of the book that doesn't exist, which is so cool, and and it goes into how she's related to Cadence and some of the things that and it's not very long, but it's really thick. You know what I'm saying? It's got a lot of
it has a lot of stuff to grab to. Yeah.
Right. So I love that.
It works really well for O because what an avant-garde character to begin with.
Yeah, she's very avant-garde. So you might want to just kind of take something that's similar, that's good for your character. So if your character is, more conventional, which she is, you might want to add more. She also seems a little more breezy, a little more earthy. So these are things that you want to work into it. And this also is, by the way, now connects to some of the things that we're thinking about when the project moves forward, and something that you might be really interested in doing, Matt, looking into. Okay, so one of the things we're thinking about is how we're going to organize when we gamify this whole thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And we don't want it to just kind of be out there and disorganized. So it's like the most obvious thing, but it took me all semester to come up with it. And Frederick likes the idea, and I talked to Robin a little bit about it. We're going to discuss it more probably next week. But this is how it goes. We were thinking, why should somebody have to know all the characters in order to gamify this? So why don't we have a gamification of each character, and the games that are developed for that character really speak to who that character is. So the games themselves are part of the personality profile of the character.
Okay, so I'm writing notes actually right now, and Matt, by the way, I'm putting them in our brainstorming document, but basically I'm just taking down this so we remember. So the gamification is for each character.
Right.
Is it about them? The game would be about them, or sort of...
yeah, about them, around them, through them,
Okay. That's what my question was, yeah.
Things that are interesting about Rachel and things that she cares about. So you would have to know her character to be able to win these games.
Okay.
What we were thinking about, if we do it this way, then somebody would have to win, like, let's say we end up, hopefully, God willing, with the full 10 characters. Right now we have 7. And some of them are a lot more developed than others because different classes were at different levels, and we have different amounts of stuff. But let's say we have the 7 characters, and let's say that in order to play the game of Theopolis College, not just participate in the writing and the because people are welcome to write and develop characters and to create this community. So we have this kind of open-ended kind of I don't know, Minecraft of words.
Yeah. Like a sandbox. Yeah.
Where they can develop artifacts like maps and cafes and hotels and everything else they want to do. But then we also have this central game of who killed Cadence MacArthur. So so what we were thinking is you would have to win the games for all the characters before you participated in the big game of who killed Cadence, because you have to know all the characters. So people could play each individual character's games and then build more understanding of the characters and their alibis and everything else, and then when they won all those things, they could start to move into who killed Cadence, because they really have to know all the characters.
Got it.
So they'd be kind of like moving around and then towards the middle. So a Fibonacci sequence of murder mystery. So
that's interesting.
If you even wanted to develop some games, for Rachel, and just kind of as a template, even if you don't want to develop a lot of them, you can kind of as a template for other people who might want to develop games for Rachel. Then you could start building a couple of small games. They could be something as small as you could throw in some biology games like the Mendel's trying to figure out how to make bigger chickpeas or something. It could be anything. So it could be knowledge of Israel. It could be, it could be what the Desert Research Institute does. Any of those things that you think significant to Rachel, and what has come about, about her family or about the people of the things she does. But any of those things around it could be built out, and you could also, maybe even create a wish list for things that you wanted built later, even if you didn't have time to do them, so that we could hand it to other developers.
Okay. Yes, it is. Okay. I think that we'll start, Matt, what I'm thinking about is probably the best place to start is like a wish list or a kind of like brainstorming list of what kinds of gamified ways of getting to know Rachel would be really cool. But I think we'll work on the conceptual level rather than the codification of it, and then maybe as we like home in on the things that are most significant and most exciting to us, ultimately we'll decide how far we want to go with it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really interested in this kind of gaming element of it.
Great.
So I think it'll be really fun to dig into and see what we can, I don't know, how we can kind of explore and express the character, but through...
But through games, they don't even have to be games you can win. I don't know if you know about the Omnibus game tracker.
No.
Okay, so there's this guy who created something called Omnibus Game Tracker, and you can find it out on the internet. And what he did is he traveled all over the world, and so he wanted to create games that made you understand the culture of wherever he traveled. So, like, one of the games is in China, and he's trying to make connections with people, and so he has this dot, and whenever you get close to the other dots, the thing of the game is you're supposed to try to get close to these other dots so that you can ask for directions or whatever. But because he's American, the Chinese are afraid to know him, so he tries to get close to them, and as soon as he tries to get close to them, all the other dots scatter away.
Oh.
And you keep traveling, trying to find someone who will get close to you, and you can't. And that's the whole point of the game, is that the Chinese will never approach you. And there really is no winning of this game, but you play it and you have a deeper understanding of the culture. So it's really, if you want to take a look at some of the amazing, like really creative, very artistic games that this gentleman made. They're more serious games that you don't necessarily play them more than experience them. They're almost like small little pieces of performance art, but they're done with little in very, there's one in Korea where you have to try to get over the bridge to get out of North Korea to get to South Korea, and no matter how many times you try, you keep dying. So pretty soon you give up. And you just deal with it, and to make you understand why people don't leave North Korea. There's just like these really
wow, sounds amazing. I have a pragmatic question. Would there ever be any opportunity to work with more with coders, basically, with people who have more codification,
yes,
like
absolutely,
expertise?
Absolutely. And one of the ways that, so we were going to put out the coders request, and I actually have it written up and everything else, and I have it almost ready to publish at Hybrid Ped, and they asked me to make a couple of changes, and I never made the changes. First of all, because I was a little bit overwhelmed, because right at the end of the semester, my son's health went into the dirt. But mostly also because I didn't have everything I needed, because everybody else was overwhelmed and they stop it.
It's just a universal problem.
I should have thought about that academically. So what I'm thinking is, and I talked to Frederick about this, and I said, why don't we do our next call for coders in the summer like we did the call for writers, so they have some time to develop their classes and to think about this, because from fall to spring there's just really not enough time. So I said, but we're going to be putting the project off for a whole year. And he said, we're not putting it off for a whole year, Michelle. We're putting it off for a semester. So instead of in fall, we would have it ready in spring. But I'm thinking to myself, no, probably they're not going to have it ready in spring. But we can think maybe they'll have it ready in spring. We can launch the project. So I'm thinking that we're gonna probably slow it down, and it's probably we're gonna send it to the coders and the game development people, because we're going to do another call for papers asking for coders and game development. People are teaching gaming to adopt the project and to adopt these characters. So I wanted to spend this semester kind of focusing. I'm going to spend some time focusing, getting everything organized, figuring out where we're going to put it, so that we can hand over these files to classes that are working on the gamification of each character.
So, like a follow-up question to that would be, would there ever be an opportunity down the timeline to identify teams who were developing a particular game?
Yeah.
So maybe what I'm imagining in my head is that Matt and I can create a conceptual gaming world and then be assigned a game developer to actually like make it, and we work as a team.
I think they would love that, and I think that especially if we find a class that's just coding, that doesn't necessarily have the ELIT kind of understanding and component, or they don't want to spend a lot of time reading, because you have the most artifacts. I mean, I'm going to tell you, you and Elise Takahana have the most artifacts. I think Leo probably has a lot of them, but I haven't gotten to him yet, but he says he's trying to organize them and get them in, because he's like overwhelmed, because he joined the project late, and then the class was very overwhelming, so he probably has a lot of artifacts too. So people who have a lot of artifacts, if they want to stay attached to the project, I'm thinking that it's probably a really good idea, because you guys are the experts in Rachel.
What I'm thinking is, like, we are essentially the conceptual and writing team, and they are the coding developers, but we need both kinds of languages to see something come to life. But one other thing, you know, is that I was thinking that Matt and I could apply for a grant, and that, like, as a kind of phase beyond just the spring and the things we have. So for the spring, maybe we're going to do some reflective work about what we learned last fall that synthesizes pedagogy and, like, you know, it's in the spirit of hybrid ped, so there's a lot of emphasis on pedagogy will be in our explorations. But then
I'd love to see that, yeah, because also we would like to, I was talking to Robin about this idea, is to develop really some teaching guides that go along with the project, so that when people want to use them in their class to add more text or more games or whatever, they would know how to approach that. There's that whole meta area that we would like to develop, you know, and I know the project just seems like it's getting bigger and bigger, but I think it's got so much potential.
That's what's so awesome about it is, and then people can sort of carve out their corner of it and contribute to it through that little mini corner. And I'm really trying to envision, you know, basically what that might look like for Matt and I. And what I'm now thinking about, and I'm thinking out loud, of course, is, as usual, is that maybe what we can do is try to get a grant for a kind of third phase of our collaboration, where what we're doing is creating a game, but, you know, we're the writers and we're learning the language of coding, and then the coders, whoever they are, imagine there's 2 more people we work with, they become they're writing from the codification perspective, and we're teaching them the nuances of the, like, you know, the kind of literary layers that we're trying to develop.
Yeah,
so it's
that's a really great thing to talk about too. That's an area that I'm so interested in. Is I really think we have so much that we can share with them, and they have so much that they can share with us, but we don't speak languages. And it's so difficult to know what are they capable of doing. You know, what could we ask for? And then they're probably wondering, like, how come you can't communicate with me about, you know, through something that's possible? And they'll, you know, we'll look at something and think, wow, that's really difficult to do, and they'll think that's the easiest thing to do.
Exactly.
And we just don't understand what's hard and what's easy in that world. And, you know, and I think it would make it so much more wonderful if we did. And I really want to see this, and the whole idea of the design and architecture of the project is fascinating too. And so yeah, I think that going for a grant is an excellent idea. Of course, also we have there's that thing we wrote to go to the conference. So I haven't heard from them, but hopefully we get into the conference that we applied for last semester. I can't even remember who it was now. I was so tired.
Haystack.
Yeah, thanks.
Haystack.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like so tired. I can't even remember anything right now. I'm just like,
yeah. So I put in a proposal.
In my teaching career, when I was in I always had this like illness, and they had me on these drugs, and I couldn't remember anything. And I remember saying to my students, I know a lot about this book. I've studied it really thoroughly, but I can remember absolutely nothing, so talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves. Well, I was going to say that I put in a proposal for Haystack as well, and one thing I said is that I'm also like hopefully going to contribute to the Genlet roundtable that was put in by Dr. Casorla. Yeah. And then I put one in about networked learning. And I talked about like connected courses, like how to make a course a networked course, which is so much what our ELIT class was. Right. But then I added to it as a kind of subtopic the Genlit project and how we proceeded through it. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I kind of will be shocked if we weren't accepted. So, but that was before I knew I was working explicitly with Matt on this kind of second phase. So I'll have to try to figure out how he might be able to come too, because that would be really, like, Matt, that would be a really amazing conference for you. It would be like a open up everything kind of conference.
You go to certain conferences, and not only does it open your mind in such a way that you can't believe you never thought that way before you went to the conference, but also it opens doors because you meet people and you get on the radar and you start communicating on Twitter and stuff. Yeah. Pretty soon you're in this cadre of amazing people who can help really propel your career.
Totally.
So nice thing.
And I'm imagining that maybe if we're looking, if at this point, because I think that's in April or something, or late March or April, maybe even early May. I can't remember when it is, but it's in the spring. But I was going to say, if we go there, at that point, we'll be looking for a team to identify for the gamification of our writing. So
I'm in a gamification MOOC right now. It just started this week.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's through Coursera. So, and university, which one is this one from? Because I'm in two. I'm from one from University of Illinois and one from, I think this one might be, I'll have to look. But there's a game, it just started the 26th. So if you want to, like, just kind of hang in the MOOC.
Lurk. We could lurk. We're great at lurking. Well, at least I am.
I love to lurk and
I'll speak for myself.
Sometimes I can participate and like get the only one I did the certification for was Kathy Davis's history of the future of mostly higher education.
I did that too, actually, but I lurked on that one.
Such a great move. It was so. Okay, so yeah, I had Kathy talking to me in my kitchen while I was making dinner every night. It was really good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so so I know that it sounds like it keeps getting bigger and everything, but one of the things I'm thinking about for maybe organization just for you right now, just to put the artifacts in one place, is you might just put up a simple web page. And if you or Matt is comfortable with GitHub, you can put up a GitHub page really easily, and they're free. And I'm not quite sure how to do it because I'm terrible at coding, and I've been trying to do it, but I'm really bad. But if you're familiar with GitHub, they do have these wonderful GitHub pages, and they're free. So you could have a home for all the artifacts.
I'm familiar with GitHub. I've always I've never posted anything.
But you could also do a plain WordPress or something.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm more comfortable with this notion, and yet at the same time I like the idea of being pushed to just be a little bit more
techy.
You know, like when you're slightly pushed, it's not that bad, and then you can essentially acquire a new skill, and this might fall into that realm. But I guess we'll figure that out. But I like that idea of just creating a small website so that we can create an infrastructure for where to drop down all the different artifacts. Because
and you can just stick them all together, and then later, if we have someone who's working with you, they can pull them off the website really easily.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's basically a repository for the gamers and
you can do that with Drupal too, or Amica.
Yeah.
And Omeka has a really cool thing. They have a timelines, so you can actually have artifacts, and it'll have you can write text that is connected to the artifact. So there's a really nice interaction on Omeka, but you have to get it onto the server. You probably have server space though on the university that you can use for that.
That I had this whole drama with Omeka, and then anyway, it's not Omeka. It's a great program and infrastructure. I just had trouble with the server issue.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll troubleshoot that. But I'm going to consider your GitHub suggestion, or the default is WordPress, or
I mean, a free WordPress site is always easy. And I don't know about you, but I'm so familiar with WordPress. I've taught with WordPress, and also having a WordPress. I keep pushing for maybe we can create a buddy press for this whole Genlit project, and then people can create their own characters off of blogs on buddy press. But I think until we get, funding or something to put it on a server, because that could be really big. We want to be careful. So
it's like it could blow up.
Press kind of format that we can download it and upload it into a buddy press system if we want to, and that's pretty easy, because you could just use the tool to export and import. So and that might be probably the easiest way to port this stuff. But if you're building games and stuff, then you can add links to the games. And there's so many places to build free games. So, and also you can think about the fact that you don't really need to, it doesn't have to have, what I'm saying is it doesn't always have to be a game that you're playing to win. Maybe you just give them credit if
I heard that. An interesting kind of qualification is that some games are to win, but there can be games to experience, to gain knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, that game tracker was such an amazing, overwhelming change in my idea about games. And also, there's a whole website on serious games. There's a whole bunch of on serious gaming, and also there's some really fascinating stuff on unfiction, which is basically what we're doing. We're unfictioning. So that's creating this kind of realistic, almost real fiction. It kind of blurs the line between fiction and nonfiction. So there's a whole movement of unfiction in the e-lit world. I was so glad to see you also playing with Inanimate Alice.
Yeah, that one's a good one because it's so accessible pedagogically.
Yeah.
I mean, many of the texts that we were dealing with, are really, sort of less accessible. But that one is, dropping down in junior high and, 6th grade, 9th grade, whatever. It's like e-lit added for earlier, younger learners.
The thing I loved about it too is, I mean, when I saw it, that's what I wanted. I wanted to create a project that it wouldn't be so organized and constricting as something has to be for K-12, but kind of like an Inanimate Alice except for higher ed. So, and one of the things that Frederick and I talked about in this too is that if we have this large community working, we can have people, for example, called zoning commissioner, that take care of where people are zoned, where they're going to build out on something. For example, if someone starts putting X-rated stuff in there, we can bump them into an X-rated zone, into the red light district. So they can do the red light district all they want, and they won't be bothering the rest of us.
Yeah, that's interesting too. It's like regulating where people
like if somebody wants to be evangelical, we can stick them into the religious district.
Right.
And if somebody wants to hang out in the religious district, or they have a religious school and they just want to go there, they can do that. But there can be zones. We can have our characters, and we can have some zones in the city, so that there's a red light district, there's a religious district, there's a commercial district if people want to sell things.
So I remember all.
Matt, do you have any questions?
I have a lot of questions. But,
so do I.
Yeah. I'm just trying
guys,
to.
I'm just putting the computer down because I'm about to lose juice, so I'm walking away, but I'm not gone.
I know. You just don't love it. I thought she must be wearing pants because she wouldn't do that in a dress.
Yeah, no, I have so many questions.
Okay, start asking.
Well, like I don't even know where to begin. I have, like I said, I'm super interested in like the game development aspect of this whole thing, and I feel like we have such. I mean, just from my class alone, like there are so many different kind of.
I was so impressed with your class. It was so cool.
Well, I was really interested in the fact that everybody came at there. I mean, so our all of our characters were all invented, right? There was nothing.
Right.
We didn't build from anything. We just made them. And everybody, kind of, not everybody, but they were, we all chose pretty different ways to go with that. And then as the characters developed, it just got wider, Well, I mean,
I know, it gets so big so fast.
Yeah, and I mean, we went from kind of simple, domestic drama to like international espionage, and there are so many different things going on with all these characters.
Yeah, I mean, Marissa Lanagrin told me that the Republic of Zambera, suddenly it was all involved in drug trafficking and illegal whaling, and
yeah,
like what?
Yeah, all of a sudden, right? But all of those things, all those crazy disparate things, I think they're all entry points for some kind of a gaming experience, and I think
exactly.
To work with. And that's super cool. I'm kind of excited for all the possibilities that we have to work with Rachel Bahar, let alone all the other characters.
Yeah, and what I thought was interesting is that we have this Arab character, and we've got this Jewish character, Israeli character, even more specifically, and so I was like, okay, we could really have some interesting stuff going on. They're both very likable characters too, and there's that whole political, thing. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we've got on that as well, that's complicated and there's one, I mean, I think Michelle, but Louis Siegel, one of my students, also a graduate student, really drilled down a lot with the whole political element that's possible with Rachel, and so we have a lot to sort of excavate with that as well. But Matt, I think what we're seeing right now is that in a way we're becoming like the editors of what was created last semester. So essentially we're going to have to like sort things out, extract things, bring certain things to the foreground, and then continue to shape some of the possibilities around this character, which I'm excited about. That's
let me answer Frederick's call. Just a second.
Okay.
Hey, Frederick, we're online. Can I invite you? We're online with Mia Zamora. Do you want to join us? Yeah, I invited you early in the week, but I guess you didn't see it. Are you someplace you can at least listen into our Google chat? Okay, hold on. I'm going to invite you. F Cope. There you are. Okay, so I just sent you an invitation. And we've got it on live, so you can watch it later too.
So, Michelle, is he speaking?
Yeah, he's just talking to me. Yeah, he's just trying to, I think, answer the invitation.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So as soon as you can come in, come in. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Bye. Okay, so
What I was going to say, because I'm a little bit mindful of the time, because I have to go in a little while, but what I was going to say is we've gotten through the agenda pretty well, except for number 4.
okay.
The future of the project, we can continue to have conversations about as well, I'm sure, right? I mean,
Right.
those conversations never end, but they're all inspiring. But regarding the I just wanted to share with you and ask you a question. You know, we have developed a concept for like a serialized a series of reflections, analytical reflections that sort of incorporate research and also evidence of work done, etc. I'm imagining a multimodal kind of writing where there's lots of links or embedded videos and things like this, which showcase the development of the Gen Lit project. But basically, Matt and I wanted to produce approximately 4 pieces by the end of the spring semester. And my question, yeah, I think it's going to be cool, and we have some great ideas. Just to give you a little like taste of the things that we've sort of articulated as possibilities. Like, one, we wanted to do an interview style kind of dialogue that would be like almost like a Rolling Stone interview style kind of conversation where Matt and I determine like 6 important questions that would delve into the heart of the Gen Lit project from our perspective, and we both answer those questions, you know, sort of on our own. And we would be I would be embodying, obviously, the professorial perspective on how things unfolded, while he'll be representing the student experience of those moments or those issues or those questions. And that we could have that side by side, and then obviously have it be a multimodal linked kind of you know, dialogue. So that's one thing we wanted to do. We were also thinking that one very interesting topic that came up is risk and security when developing a narrative in fictional world that is ultimately networked and public. So, you know, so what kinds of risks are students taking, and you know, what moments come up when there's unexpected interaction from the outside, and how to manage that.
Yeah.
So we thought we would we thought we would develop some analysis and reflection on what we experienced. You know, obviously, it's never going to be comprehensive of exactly what you should always do, but we wanted to explore that as an issue in kind of 21st century generative social media-based writing.
The ethics of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're tweeting
exactly.
a character and then people interact with you like you're a real person, do you have ethical responsibility to lift that veil, or do you continue in your character?
We would write a piece that would address some of these, you know, challenges, and then we also we're thinking about developing something that's much more specific to pedagogical approaches to this. You know, what did we learn that works or doesn't work within a classroom setting when exploring these ideas of writing within a public fictive space or networked space. So that's an example, but my question is, so I've got this sort of proposal, we have this proposal sort of in development. Should I reach out to Rachel, excuse me, Rachel, should I reach out to Robin directly and propose a serialized set of 4, I imagine them like sophisticated blog posts, you know, something like that. You know?
I think you absolutely should reach out to her, both to her and to Rachel, and because I think that she's going to be really excited and really positive about it. And you know, as far as we're concerned, I mean, if you're worried about stepping on our toes, you're not. Don't worry about it at all. Do what you want to do with this project, and you know, because it's adding to the greater good. What can I say? And I can't wait to read it. One of the things that Frederick and I definitely missed was being, you know, seeing what was going on in the classes. We kept saying we wish that we were like a fly on the wall because we would love to see. And some of the Twitter we could see, but it was just it was like, you know, we were behind this curtain and we couldn't see what was going on, and we're like, we want to know. And so it's really exciting for us to see, you know, this happening. And no, it doesn't tread on us at all, and we don't need any, you know, I mean, other than knowing that it's there and being able to cheer you on, we're not possessive of it. Is that a good way to put it? It's an open territory. It's BLM land. Just go do what you want. It's owned by the government, you know.
I just got a really good idea as you were talking, because I was kind of seeking in my mind a sort of fourth trajectory for these serialized reflections, and I think one that might be really interesting to people is a theme that I'd like to explore with Matt is the idea of play, like the importance of play in learning and in the acquisition of knowledge. And I think, because you were saying I'd love to be a fly on the wall, and I was thinking if she was a fly on the wall, she would have noticed a lot of giggling and a lot of silly
that's
moments
right?
between all of us. Right.
I mean, that's what caused, for example, Minecraft to be very popular, is that people like to play, no matter how old they are or how young they are, they like to play. And one of the things that I was really interested in a lot of the gaming literature that I should have read a long time ago, but I just am starting to catch up with a little bit, especially in pedagogy, they're talking about, you know, what's the difference between teaching with games and not teaching with games? Well, what's the difference between that you know, 19th century teaching and 21st century teaching? It really is the question. Because before, people were told you have to get the answer right, and if you don't get it right, that's done. Well, that's an industrial society, because you're making a product, and if you don't get it right the first time, it's ruined. So you get graded on whether you're able to do it. But now in the 21st century, we're more into intellectual kind of productions, and so what we want is for the students, if they don't get it right the first time, to edit, revise, and that's what gaming does. You know, if my kids can't get through a level in you know, Plants vs. Zombies, they're going to play that level over and over and over again until they can get through.
Right. Yeah.
And it's that kind of learning which is so different from the learning that we're doing currently, especially in higher ed. I mean, I think K-12 has really been on the ball, but I don't think higher ed is even close. And instead of this charge, we are desperately falling. And we really need to pick it up. And we just have too many people saying, no, you know, I don't want technology. I can just teach the way I've always been teaching.
Right, exactly. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so tired of beating my head on the wall about this.
Well, I think we could write something about that, Matt.
I think so too. And so listen, I just had this idea of while somebody was saying something, and I don't know how viable it is, but I don't think that I can do this. I mean, at least not right now. But what about using like Minecraft as a tool for something?
It's one of the possibilities is that, you know, I'm thinking of this as a very unchained project. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
If you wanted to, you could put a link into a Minecraft file, or you could put a link into Second Life, or you could put from a page that's already existent on a character or on a game. Like you can say, you know, go here to find more, and then you go off into a game somewhere. So it's a very hypertext kind of unchained, free-range experience. But I think if you can create that kind of free-range, unchained experience, I mean, it's a lot like people say, you know, what you're doing here is you're creating a 21st century MUD, right? A multi-dimension, a MOO, was also called a MOO, like Lambda MOO. I used to play Lambda MOO, right? I used to play D&D, Lambda MOO. You can tell how old I am. All right. And Lambda was only text, and it was a blast. Okay, so and it's still existence, by the way. If you ever want to take your students to Lambda Moot, it still exists. It's so cool. But what it is that Lambda Moot was still in its own universe, and this is a possibility of kind of having a 21st century, kind of a 21st century MUD, except that we can go in any direction. People could build something in Minecraft and bring it in. They could do 3D imaging. They could have a link for Oculus Rift to experience a video clip. They could do all kinds of really amazing things with this, and adding cinematography, adding all kinds of cool stuff to up the drama of a particular character or a particular area in the character. So all we needed was the structure. Who are the characters? What murder was it? And what is the character like? Now other people can help join into that character in the game, building everything else. And then as that moves forward, as maybe the games are approved and moves towards understanding a character, then we can put in the last piece of the puzzle, which is maybe we identify people who've been working on each of the characters all the way along and knows them the best, and then start to push them into helping us understand who might have done the murder. And by the way, I don't think there's really an answer to that, because when you prosecute someone for a murder, you prosecute someone and you hope you got the right person, but you're never really sure.
Yeah. Well, I think we have a lot of food for thought, and we also have a clear sense of a kind of to-do list. Just as a kind of summary before we get off, I just want to say that I think Matt and I will target both the bio piece and the sort of setup of an organized file system in the next month or so. So we'll get that to you as soon as possible, but I'm imagining it'll be maybe 2 to 3 weeks, and then we'll drop that stuff down to you.
Also, while you're thinking about it, you might be building the architecture for the other characters, ways of creating architecture. So, we might have in you a model. So, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think when we're the next step after those, moving some of that stuff and building a repository for it, is sort of brainstorming, as we were talking about, brainstorming possible gamified experiences around the character of Rachel. I think Matt and I will have really fun time just imagining games that that don't exist yet, but that would be really cool to explore and capture all kinds of things.
Right. And sometimes they could just be textual. I'm trying to put together the class list of what this college offers and who the professors are. And one of the things that I've done when I was creating the class list is kind of gamify it a little bit. For example, whatever field it is, I'm looking for historical figures in that field to teach the classes. So an instructor who's in art history or something might say, I want you to go into the Gen Lit project and look at the instructor list for art history, and I want you to identify who some of these teachers might have been.
Yeah.
And why they're teaching that particular class. It's a little, and even the football games that we did for this semester that Frederick worked so hard on. What's interesting about the football games is we built this kind of interesting thing where, and it's just like an Easter egg of knowledge, because, okay, so who did they play? They played all these all these different Greek gods, and then they played some Christian people, and then they ended up playing the humanists at the end, one. So so there's all these kind of it's play. It's a lot of play.
Yeah.
A lot of punning. Yeah. A lot of irony, a lot of satire, and it's fun. It's fun.
We're so excited. I think that there's a lot of potential here, and once we hear about that haystack business, we'll be in touch with each other. I think we should have another meeting as soon as we hear about what's happening there.
I also think it might be really good to have a meeting with Elise Takahana and all of us, and to talk about what she's doing, and then maybe you guys would find some, a person of and her graduate students. You might find some real, some real meat there for you guys to bang against and try to find your location in this topic, because they might really have some interesting. I mean, I know they must have some really interesting perspectives as well, and where they're going with it, and just to see, the comparison and contrast, it's so interesting, and it might push both of you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would be productive no matter what.
At this point, we released the project, and we're just following it, going, wow. This is so.
It's all about everybody. Get as many possible people, and then let their imaginations loose.
Right, and that's the whole idea of crowdsourcing, isn't it? I mean,
right, exactly.
We end up with the most incredible, amazing things that we never imagined.
Right, exactly.
We might end up with aliens in this universe. Who knows? Well, it was really great talking to you. Great. Finally, actually, truly meeting you, not just seeing you in a class, Matt. And I think that we've probably exchanged via Cadence a couple times.
Yeah, probably.
She's kind of nosy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So,
well, we will be in touch for sure. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your vision.
So much fun. Always is. Take care, and please call or beam me in, Scotty, whenever you need.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks for that.